housing lender.
Two of the George Zimmerman trial officially wrapped up in Sanford today. 40 potential jurors already questioned. Now the big challenge for the prosecutors, finding jurors who were not already familiar, didn't have any preconceived notions with the case.
And we have our legal experts here today, Richard Kurtz and John Phillips. They have experience in the courtroom, and they're here to kind of weigh in on what took place. It's day 2 of jury selection. Sure. And I want y'all to kind of start by explaining, this has been a very slow and tedious process. 2 days, only 14 jurors they've made it through. Why are they doing it one by one?
Well, what they're doing right now is they filled out the questionnaire and they were bringing in 100 people at a time. They're actually bringing 21 people back. What I believe is happening based on the questions I've seen is they're addressing what's going on with what do they know about the case? What have they learned from the media? What have they learned from being involved? Or the people that they know personally? What have they been taught? Because they don't want to taint the rest of the jury. You don't want to lose 100 jurors because one person stands up and says, I know this about the case and I firmly believe that, and all of a sudden the other jurors are stricken for cause.
Exactly. You don't want to poison the well. If you poison the well with the sound, the voices, or whatever reason, then the other jurors that would have heard it are going to be tainted and have to make a decision in their mind.
But for yesterday, 10 today, I mean, they kind of stepped on the gas a little bit. I mean, right? I mean,
well, the problem is last time they did 4.5 a day, so they're still going at about the same pace.
Gotcha.
4 to 5, 1 per hour or so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would expect it to pick up pace. I mean, once we get rid of this, then I expect it to be more of what a traditional jury selection is going to be. Bring in 70, maybe it's 100 jurors. If I don't know if that courtroom will facilitate that.
Right.
But bring them all in and then begin going one at a time and not having to worry about individually sequester them.
And so how long are you thinking as far as jury selection goes?
You know, it's funny, as I was listening to one of the commentators say that they expect it to last a week. I truly believe even though you only need 6 jurors, you still need to know who your pool is. So I still expect it to get into the end of next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the 14 that you do have, you're going to get to the point where you're not there yet. You're going to have to bring in 21, and out of these 14, quite a few of them have knowledge about the case or preconceived ideas. One went to church that had already made up their mind.
Yeah.
And so you're going to deal with, out of these 21, you're not going to get a full panel of 6. Out of next 21, maybe. So then you got to select those 21 again. That's another 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, and we have a poll up on First Coast News on our George Zimmerman trial page. One of the questions in today's poll is, news watchers are more or less qualified to be jurors? And the results right now, about 67% say they're actually more qualified to be jurors.
Opinions? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think what they're trying to say is the people that are more in touch with what's going on. You would like to think the people that are following the media have a better, touch with the reality, so to speak, not simply I'm in my little under the rock aspect of it.
Right.
Now, the question is ultimately just because you're following the media, the question is ultimately going to be have you already made up your mind and do you believe one side or the other? So I agree that people that are watching the media probably have better knowledge to bring into a jury, to a courtroom. But you got to make sure they haven't already made a decision.
John?
What I want to know is who are the news watchers that said news watchers weren't a better qualified juror? These are news watchers that watch you guys.
Well, is it the perfect juror one that maybe has the, I don't know, just kind of the clean slate, so hasn't been involved? I mean, just playing devil's advocate, hasn't been all thrown into this whole thing?
My favorite line today was a juror that says she uses the Orlando Sentinel to line the parrot cage. Okay. And that was, that tells you what she thinks about the news.
Paper?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, for sure. Okay, other questions. We have 2 new questions, well, 3 new questions. Heather just mentioned another one. 4 potential jurors were questioned on day 1. The 2 options there, is this just the wheels of justice or is this unacceptably slow? 50-50 there so far. I think we kind of have opinions on that one. Gavel-to-gavel news coverage. I am kind of interested on your opinion of this. We're covering it from the very infancy and obviously to sentencing. Is this a good thing? For something like this, John?
I don't like it. We're going to be dealing with this when Jordan Davis comes. HLN's already asked if we're going to get involved with that, and I don't like it because you're dealing with the secondary gain of a juror, and they're going to put themselves in whether they want a book deal or whether they want fame, and it just gets too much when it's this covered.
Well, you said something. You said from infancy to sentencing. Right. There may never be a sentencing.
Good point.
There may be a not guilty verdict. Right. There may be a hung jury.
Sure.
There's all kinds of that may happen during the course. There may be a mistrial.
Okay.
You have no idea.
Well, that said, then whatever the end is,
right?
Whether it is okay.
Sure.
So the coverage from beginning to end. Let me put it that way, without
No, I think it's obviously. I think media
right?
coverage is necessary
Sure.
for us to all know. I mean, we were in the dark ages a long time ago. The media is absolutely necessary. First Amendment's absolutely necessary, and I think it's great. But the question is, will it impact the panel? And we don't know that yet.
Listen, I work in the news, so of course, it's the business is what pays my bills. But were trials fairer before we had this 24/7, beat on these types of trials?
I'm glad we can face off for the first time.
Sure. Yeah.
I think they absolutely are less fair. I mean, you look at the big trials, almost all acquittals.
Right.
OJ, Casey Anthony. They rarely put somebody in the place, except for today. It happened with a guy named Seacat, where he got first-degree murder charges and one that was covered. But generally, you see acquittals because jurors have to answer to their peers after the trial process is gone. And
there you go.
They don't want to say, I was the one that gave her the death penalty.
Sure.
And we're out of time, but that was one concern of potential jurors, saying they didn't necessarily want to be a part of it, not because of the length of it, but because of the threat that they may face at the end of the trial.
Absolutely.
Guys, we appreciate your
Thanks so
time.
much.
We'll hopefully see you throughout the entire thing. Let's go over to Tim now with a check of the weather. Hey, Tim.
Hello, Lou. Very interesting, no doubt about it. Well,